for Monday, Tuesday, May 21st, 7 p.m. God. Pledge of allegiance.
Wednesday.
It's not Wednesday. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Fire evacuation, if there's emergency in the building, there's a door in the back of the room. You could go out and away from the building, or to my left, out the door, down the stairs, and away from the building. Roll call, please.
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Here.
Kevin Zorda.
Here.
Virginia Higley. Here. Kelly Hemler.
Here.
Dylan Bridge.
Here.
Nancy Martin.
Here.
Ann Collins, absent. Chris Renault.
Here.
Ken Kaufman.
Here.
And I did the wrong week.
And we'll see Ken Kaufman today.
Okay.
Okay. I did also want to mention that at the town council special meeting on May 13th regarding the mall presentation, we did have a quorum. And just a reminder, we're not to discuss that project at all anywhere because they probably will have to come before us. Public communications and petitions. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak regarding items not on the agenda? Again, does anybody want to speak regarding items not on the agenda? One last time, anybody want to speak regarding items not on the agenda? Seeing none. Correspondence, I didn't have any. Minutes from preceding meetings from May 7th.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of May 7th, May 7th, 2024.
Second.
Ginny seconded it. Any discussion?
Just one. We had spoken about a bill that was going through the legislature, and I did follow it, and it was dead.
Yeah,
So, but I would expect
you.
it to come back next year.
Perfect.
So we'll be ready then.
We'll have to watch for it.
Yep.
Thank you. Can I have a roll call for the minutes?
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley. Yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Nancy Martin.
Yes. Ken?
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
7 in favor, motion passes. Next, town attorney report, we have none. Continued public hearings, we have none. New public hearings is none. Old business, none. New business. IW 700, 14 Cranbrook Boulevard, wetland application for a site remediation to correct a violation. Sam and Zach LLC, owner's applicant, map 56, lot 33, BL zone. Hi, gentlemen. Could you state your name and address for the record? And
Yes, my name is Matthew Murphy.
Hey.
I'm with Western Mass Environmental, one of the owners.
My name is Abdel Yusuf,
welcome.
14 Cranbrook Boulevard.
Yes, welcome. Hi.
So, this is the first time I've been to a meeting like this, but.
You're fine.
So, I guess I just wanted to kind of explain how we're gonna do, what we're gonna do. I read through the orders and conditions. Anytime before we do anything, you guys need 3 days' notice. I got that, that's no problem. So what we're gonna do is it's a small area. It's really, bad housekeeping. Some oil stains from waste oil on the ground. It's probably about maybe 3 times the size of this desk, maybe a little more. But what we're gonna do is sample the area
Right.
so we can pre-characterize the soil. Then we'll do the paperwork. Once we know that we can take it to a facility, the closest facility that we want to take it to is Ondrix in Chicopee, Mass. So once we do the soil characterization, we do the paperwork, then we will call the Concom, and we want to put in the silt fence and wattle. So we'd probably like to meet them out there the day we do it, so we want to make sure we don't have to do it 2 times. So once we do that, it's really probably a 1-day job to come in. The reason we want to pre-characterize, so we're not stockpiling it.
Right.
The soil's going to go right on a truck and right out of there. So once we do that, we'll take confirmatory samples. We're probably going to overdig a little bit, just so we know we don't have to go back in.
Right, so you get all the boundaries.
Yeah, and we want to get it backfilled the same day. So we'll take our samples. We'll have a very good idea that we're clean. Like I said, we'll probably overdig a little bit. So once we're done with that, we'll backfill, we'll put hay down, we'll seed it, hay it. And once it's grown, I saw the conditional orders, 70% of it has to be at least growing. We'd call the Concom again, say, do you mind coming out and look at it, make sure it's okay, before we take out the wattle or the silt fence.
Yeah,
It's a pretty simple job.
yeah.
Question?
Quick question.
Yep.
Where are you taking the contaminated soil to?
It's going to go to Ondrix Material Handling, and it's in Chicopee, Mass.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks. Anybody else have a question? George, yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, the storage shed that is on the side of the building, is that going to be removed prior to
I
the
don't think we
dig?
have to when I looked at it. If it has to, it'll probably have to, but we're hoping we don't have to. I know it's right close to it, but
Within feet, right?
yeah, so we could probably go under it a little bit. It's a pretty good-sized trailer. We could go under it if we have to.
Because you have the slope that comes down.
I know
on
the
side of
slope,
it.
yeah, for sure. I know the slope actually is just about where the contamination is, starts to
Right,
slope off. So we're hoping we don't have to get too crazy with that slope. I'd like to keep it all within that slope, but we'll
All
see.
right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Ken?
Just one quick question. So, do you dig an area so that you find no contamination, or is there a certain level?
We want
What's
none,
that?
we want none, because we want to have it done in one day. So the guys that we have, they'll screen it. They're going to have a meter on site.
Okay.
So they'll screen it. They'll be like, that looks good. You know, we shouldn't have any problems. Like I said, we're probably going to overdig it a little bit, so we don't have to come back in.
Okay, and
If
is
we
it
have
just
to
like
come back in-
is it just oil, like hydrocarbon?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just waste oil, pretty much, you know. It's not, it doesn't usually travel too deep, a lot less than like heating oil.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Excellent.
it shouldn't be too bad.
Thank you.
Yep.
George, do you have anything?
First, I just sent ETV's email a picture a couple minutes ago. I understand it's a little bit last minute. I'm sorry, IT. So I went out to site on Monday just to see the area because I was assuming based off the application that it was much larger than it actually seems, but it's actually quite a small area of remediation. I believe there has been some notification with DEEP being involved. I'm not too sure of the status with DEEP being involved in that. Perhaps the applicant has an update about the state.
No, I will contact them though.
Okay.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, and then the site should obviously be restored to whatever it originally was per the original wetlands violation that was issued. I want to mention that our engineering department had one comment about no additional fill to be added to the site. So what the existing elevation is now should remain the same by the time the project is done, just because of the FEMA flood zone.
Yep.
And then the DEEP comment, for the site-specific conditions, I made a recommendation that the applicant will continue to work with CT per the remediation, but if DEEP feels they do not need to be involved because the spill is pretty small, then that can be stricken from the conditions. And then like Mr. Murphy said, we get notified 3 days before they begin work, and we go out and check their ENS controls prior to them beginning. And then the last recommendations I had was to keep all chemicals stored inside the building, and that proof of restoration should be submitted to the agency within a year of approval. I'm assuming it won't take a year, so that could be upon completion.
Yeah. And chemicals have to be stayed inside. So I just want to clarify, engineering, I thought it said something about no fill should be added because of FEMA, so it's really not no fill, it's just that additional, you can't make it bigger.
Yes, so right now, the way the elevation sits, that's
Yeah.
the elevation. It can't be changed. So any additional fill that has to be brought in above that existing elevation can't be brought in.
Perfect, okay.
Right.
Thanks.
We'll bring it right up to the, I think it's the sidewalk there.
Yep.
It's the elevation we're gonna bring it to.
Yeah.
Do we need to make that a condition?
What?
Not overfill?
No, no.
Perfect. Anybody else have any questions, concerns? To my left, right?
Right, so just the two sites.
Yeah. Oh, and no, don't store it, where he says.
It's on there.
It's on there, okay.
All right, I will make a motion to approve IW number 700 14 Cranbrook Boulevard, wetlands application for site remediation to correct a violation. Sam and Zach LLC, owners applicant, map 56, lot 33, BL zone, with the following site-specific conditions. Proof of restoration must be submitted to the IWWA within a year of approval. And number 2, oil or any other chemicals may not be stored outside the building.
Second.
Who said that, Nancy? Thank you. Any discussion? Nope, seeing none, roll call?
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Nancy Martin.
Yes.
Chris Renault.
Ken?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ken Kaufman. I keep
Yes.
forgetting you're an alternate.
7 in favor, motion passes. One more thing, do we have to close the zoning complaint?
I would keep it open until the remediation
Okay.
has been completed.
Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you very much.
Need me?
No, you're good.
Next is IW 701, 118 Raffia Road, application for a wetland permit for a shed within the regulated area. Frank Pizzo, I hope I said that right. Applicant owner, map 67, lot 1, R33 zone.
Have a seat.
Have a seat. Could you state your name and address for the record?
Frank Pizzo, 118 Raffia Road.
Hi, welcome. Could you just give us a little background on what you're trying to do?
Just put a shed north side of the garage.
It's easy. Yeah, so I guess a little bit of it's in the wetland.
Correct.
Yeah. And then it says something you want to have alternate size? You want to make it bigger or something?
There's no shed there at the moment.
Oh, well, this is,
There's a garage there.
no, it says you want to have a 14 by 40 shed, but if possible, have a 16 by 48.
I'm going to go with the 14 by 40.
Oh, okay, so that's off the, okay, no longer wanted, no longer. Okay. Georgie, did you have anything?
This is one of our many victims of our regulations that I can't approve through the building permit because of the wetland layer in our GIS.
Yes.
So the wetlands are previously disturbed. It's been a residential dwelling since the early 1900s. There are no significant concerns. The only note I had was just to clarify between the applicant and the agency if there would be any soil stockpiling or if it's just a slab on grade. But other than that, I also recommend to cross out conditions 3, 6, 7, and the standard size of the full-size plans, seeing how 8.5 by 11 is really all that's needed.
Correct, thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
So what do you put down as a base under it?
I'm going to put a foot of process.
Okay. So no concrete, just
No
gravel?
concrete.
Okay. I know. I went by there the other day, I had to go to JFK, but, so there's no trees or anything coming down? No, I didn't think so. Okay, perfect. Anybody have anything else? Concerns, issues? No? Okay, can we
I
have,
will make a motion to approve IW number 701, 118 Raffia Road, application for a wetlands permit for a shed within the regulated area. Frank Pizzo, applicant owner, map 67, lot 1, R33 zone.
Second.
who said that?
Like
Dylan? Who is it, Dylan?
Yeah,
Dylan?
it's our
Okay.
muscle for you.
All right. Any more discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Donna Corbin-Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Nancy Martin.
Yes.
Ken Kaufman.
Sure.
7 in favor, motion passes. Thank you very much. Thank
Enjoy your shed.
Moving right along.
Moving right along, IW 702, 17 and 21 Elm Street, application for a wetland permit for the construction of a commercial development within regulated areas, Troyano Properties LLC, applicant owner, map 26, lot 28 and 29 BL zone. Hi.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the commission. My name is Dave Ziax. I'm a professional engineer with F.A. Hesketh Associates, located over in East Granby. And our office prepared the plans and reports that are before you. With me is Frank Triano, representing the applicant, Triano Properties. This proposal is on addresses 17 and 21 Elm Street, which are two older homes. We can look at the overall. Basically, it's right across the street here from the town hall. On the corner is the bank with the drive-through. Next to that is the three-story medical building. And then where my little orange doodle is, those are the two houses, the two lots next door that are going to be merged with the commercial portion. And those houses will be removed, and we're proposing to build a small 9,380 square foot commercial building there that'll have, at this point, looks like 3 tenants. One of the tenants proposed tenants is here this evening. We'll just make a few remarks to the commission at the end of the presentation here. This is the master plan that's in your package, and you can see how this has gone. When did we do the bank, Frank? The bank was in 2005. It started with the construction of the bank on the corner, and then it proceeded a couple of years later with the construction of the medical center. And now we're moving on to, if you want to call it, phase 3. We don't plan on going any further to the east than this. And from a zoning perspective, this will all be merged together under one special permit. So that's why we have it shown as 3. The next sheet is really the subject of tonight's meeting is on our sheet LA1. We have that building. You can see it's shown there. It's a long rectangular building, 9,380 square feet. It'll be 1 story. And we'll be adding 38 parking spaces just on the west side, which is the left side of the building. And those will be merged in with the existing parking that's out there next to the medical center. And internally, the driveways will be interconnected with each other. What I have here is a colored-up version of GR1 that's in your plan set. And the wetlands are actually pretty consistent with the town's wetlands map as it relates to the abutting property to the north, which the applicant owns that parcel as well. There is a wetland intermittent watercourse corridor that goes from the west to the east across that parcel, and we are at the very southern side of that wetlands. That's that green line that's meandering along the top of the page there, right along the boundary line. And it dips down a little bit over into the northeast corner, the upper corner of this parcel here, and then returns back up into the abutting parcel to the north. There's also, the wetland scientists also identified what amounts to as a man-made wetland, is that little banana-shaped wetland in the middle of the parking lot there. There's a discharge storm sewer that on the south end of it, and an inlet storm sewer on the north end of it that we actually constructed back in 2006, 2007. And it has developed enough characteristics that by Connecticut standards, it qualifies as a watercourse or a man-made wetland, but it's identified as a wetland. So you can see that because of that little wetland blob there and the green line along the north end of the property, about half of our development site is in the 100-foot upland review area, which is that magenta or purplish color identified with the crooked line, if you want to call it that, cutting through there. Now, the storm drainage works out nicely here because when we built the medical center, we oversized the underground chamber system, which is located right here on the drawing. It's hiding under the parking lot there. You really can't see it. But we had oversized that with the anticipation that we were going to add 1 and now 2 lots to the east but we had, Frank had in his back of his mind a future phase here, so we oversized that storm drainage system at the time. So we're able to connect into that. We're going to have just a couple of catch basins in our parking lot, and then we will connect into this underground system. And this discharge is way over here, closer to the bank. There's a retaining wall right here, and there's an established outlet right at that location there. So this system discharges there. So we're not proposing any new discharge points with this project here. What we are going to do is, this roof is going to be a gabled roof running down the middle. So we're going to take this eastern half of the building and send that down to splash pads. Here, this will be like a drainage swale running along the east side of the building. Because what we wanted to do was we wanted to keep a source of runoff, fresh water heading over towards this northeast corner of the property as it does now. This is really in the backyards of these the two houses are hiding under this building right here. I left them here so you can keep it in perspective as to where the houses are. But this is a backyard here. It has a small garage and several sheds and mowed grass, and it works its way back to this sort of northeast corner here. But enough yard runoff goes down into that corner that I thought it was appropriate, rather than diverting everything over to the underground system, that we would leave a reasonable amount of water heading back there to keep that, that regime, that hydraulic regime back there, pretty much the same as it is now. The utilities are, we're going to reconnect over to the utilities that are coming onto the property now for the two houses. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was in the back here, what we've done is there's going to be an out, and one of our tenants here, our veterinarian tenants, are going to explain. They have the need for a little outdoor area to exercise the animals, and I'm not going to speak too much on it because I'm a civil engineer. I'm not a veterinarian, so they're clients. They're clients, yeah. But anyhow, they need that area as part of the operation. They're going to be in the back half of the building here. So what I decided to do is we're going to build a retaining wall here right along the property line. And in doing that, that minimizes greatly the amount of grading that needs to go to the north and to the east, to gain the, because there is a bit of a drop in this property. You don't really think of it when you're walking around, but from Elm Street to the north, there is a bit of a drop, and that needs to be dealt with. So rather than putting more fill in here and filling it further to the north, we'll install a retaining wall there and minimize that disturbance back there. On this sheet here, which is SD2, up in the right-hand corner of that sheet, you can see where our landscape architect has come up with a buffer planting plan for that back corner. This is above what's necessary for zoning purposes in the parking lot. This is geared towards this application. And we're going to plant all around the outside of the wall with mitigation-type plantings that we use on many projects. And then this back corner, any disturbance in this little back corner here, we'll reseed that with a wetland mix and keep that as a little wetland area in that back corner of the property. No one's really going to go in the back of that area there at all because there's no entrance into the building or anything other than up on the elevated portion of this where we're going to have that outdoor area. So that area will go back to sleep up there in the northeast corner when we're done, and everything can grow back to our wall. One of the things we talked a little bit about with staff is we do have 838 square feet of disturbance. About half of that is the little banana, but then we do have a little, nibble up here in this northeast corner. The idea was whether or not we should do some, bona fide wetland mitigation. We do have areas to do that, but to be honest with you, other than just to say that we're going to mitigate the 838 feet, I don't think that's a good idea because I have to disturb more land back there to create, man-made wetlands. That doesn't seem to make much sense. It's a very heavily wooded site back there, and with a little bit of time with our plantings that we're going to do, and then just Mother Nature creeping back to our disturbed area, I think that's a better plan than us trying to create some kind of mitigation area back there, which I think it will generate more disturbance certainly than it's worth. With regards to staff comments, you had a nice report from staff. We addressed, and I did generate a few sheets that were revised to 517. It was only just 2 or 3 sheets that needed to be revised to answer the staff's comments. So that's in the record. I think most of these comments have already been addressed. There was nothing of any real consequence. The fire department did have some concerns with access and the like, but we worked with Kevin, the fire marshal, and I got an email from him on vacation that says my concerns have been addressed. That's not necessarily in the formal record yet, but it's there. So we worked back and forth with addressing his comments, and he was nice enough to send me an email. I think he's on vacation this week. But other than that, there are no other real outstanding issues that would affect the design of the project in any way. And then you have, the staff, of course, has given you all your standard conditions of approval, and we don't have any concerns with any of those. Frank, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, just briefly, Frank Troiano, 1408 Enfield Street. The goal here is to actually blend the property into the neighborhood. That was one of the biggest things that we had. There's obviously a much taller building to the west. This building is going to be single story. It's going to have a pitched roof. We're looking at a very nice design, and we did not want to have any impact onto the neighborhood. Owning the property to the back and to the north, we wanted to make sure that we did not impact anybody to the east. That was a significant issue that we've been going back and forth, and that's the same comments that David was referring to regarding any kind of issue in the back for wetlands. The same thing on the water, same thing on making sure nothing, like I said, impacts the neighbor to our east exactly. We're very excited to work with, potentially it's going to be 3 medical users is the expectation. We do have another medical tenant that we're looking to put in the building. With us tonight, we actually did bring, because it's a special permit and there's actually an impact and there's a reason why we needed some of that outside space that's in your privy and your area. We asked the tenant to come, and the tenant's actually Possum Veterinarian Services. And this is a group that I met only a short time ago, but they're a very dynamic group of women that I'm going to bring up a couple, for the purpose that they wanted to explain and give the opportunity to make sure you understand why, for their business services, this is important for veterinarian. And as they've educated me about clients, as opposed to any other references, it's also important for the industry itself. And we haven't really had a lot of veterinarian care happen in this town in a long, long time. We're very excited to bring it in. We have not had a group come forward to us to see if we can make it work out. And we're so excited that we actually brought this group with us, and we came in, and we think it's a partnership. So if I may, if you don't mind, I wanted to bring them up just so they can explain some of the answers. I can't look behind me, but I have a funny feeling they're excited to come up here.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
While they come up, I just want to mention that they previously went before Planning and Zoning for a text amendment, which I was point on for their application, and they can do a veterinarian office in the BL zone of a site plan review.
Perfect.
So they're not going to skip up.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, I'm Alexis Suter, 27 St. Moritz Circle in Wellington.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah Dupre-Rowe, 91 Coronado Drive. We are 2 of the doctors that are business partners. We have our other 3 business partners are in the back as well.
Welcome. Yeah, I was wondering what that outdoor animal walk was for.
Yeah, so there's actually going to be 2 sections to it that have 2 slightly different purposes. One is a kind of industry standard dog walk area for patients that are there. All of our patients are outpatients. Nobody's going to be staying overnight or admitted for long term, but if they're there for an outpatient surgery or a medical workup, to be able to go out and just pee, basically. Yeah. And then the other area is going to be set aside as kind of a Zen garden or a comfort garden for outdoor euthanasias for patients when the weather allows. It's a kind of a newer concept in the field, but it is proven to be very helpful emotionally for our clients, and it's better for some of the patients to be outside instead of coming into the clinic and being stressed. A main goal of our practice is to provide lifelong care that is less stressful for the patients. And so having an area to say goodbye that is outside, beautiful, in the fresh air is really, really valuable. And it's becoming more prevalent, but it's still a fairly new idea.
Nice, it sounds very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
That's it.
The only question I had, probably for Mr. Troiano, is we've talked a lot about artificial turf recently.
Yeah.
And it says there's artificial turf for the surfaces. Do you know what it is?
We actually haven't totally settled on that. We were willing to comply with whatever the guidelines were. That was one of the discussions as a possible substrate for the dog walk in the Zen Garden area. But if there is a preference for what we put out there, we're flexible on that.
No crumb rubber.
No, yeah. No PFAS.
The reasoning why a lot of it was it's a 12-month business.
Yes.
You know, and that's a concern. There has to be some way to create a scape where they all can take care of what they need to take care of for their clients.
Right.
So that's where, and that's one other reason why the veterinarians wanted to come themselves. I mean, this is a group of 4 veterinarians coming in for one practice.
Yeah.
They're coming in, it's going to be wonderful. They're going to have surgery services as well. I mean, this is a full-blown need, I think, in Enfield that has not been served.
Oh, yeah, I think it's going to be wonderful.
So, and that's another reason why, being a 12-month business, that we were trying to find out, and this is actually, they have a specialized architect out of the West Coast that they've been working with, and this is one of the things that they do, especially out there, where they need to make sure that they actually have the services available for a 12-month business.
Right.
It's not Saturday and Sunday. They obviously have the right to do from what we do, but this is a very professional, very clinical business operation, and that was part of the issue that we talked about before. It's not been fine-tuned, but that was one of the recommendations from the architect that they had, so they can actually maintain their client base all the way through and be able to maintain it better even in winter months.
No, I don't have a problem putting it down, but just environmental friendly.
Right, and we can work with that. That's not a problem with us.
Yeah, with no PFAS and the crumbs and all that stuff.
Those products are available.
Yes,
Yeah, and
yeah.
we would obviously, at the same time, the base would actually be handled differently as well.
Yeah.
So we know that would be part of it. So we understand that as well, being the builder of the site itself, when we get to that point.
Yeah.
We understand that would be part of the obligation too, because that would be part of the same reason that they need as well, is to make sure it's compatible for everybody.
Right, perfect, thank you.
Not really having to do with wetlands, but because I'm a plant guy. Are we sure that these are all pet-safe plants? Yeah, checked them? Sure?
Put it this way, there is no doubt that would have to be part of what we have to take care of. Even if it was not required on your side, it would be something we would require.
I did, on the plans, same page, there was something about a proposed conservation area. What is that going to be?
Yeah.
It was up
Trade out.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much, welcome.
And just to kind of go with that question, saying that, there's really not an area to do that, my question is, would it be prudent to do it to the, I don't know, is that east side? That would be neighboring the rest of the neighborhood, to do something on that swale, like rain garden, something attractive on that side?
Yeah, Dave Zieks again. The planning and zoning landscape plan will provide that buffer all through there, because that is required. When you have BL next to R33, there's a very specific planting plan and everything. I think, Frank, you were talking about putting the fence back up as well?
Yeah, the fence for the road.
We have a fence out there now. We may just relocate it over to that property line as well, just as a,
In addition.
as a fixed point, and then landscape around that. Similar to what's out there now. If you see what that buffer is out there now between the medical building and the first house, it'll be replicated from that. And that will be a grass swale for, to treat anything coming off the roof. Maybe some birdie doo-doo or something like that. So that's a technical question. But yes, in response to one question, along the back side of the medical center,
Right.
there was an easement dedicated there. And I'm not too sure why it keeps showing up as proposed, because it's dedicated. It's there.
it is there.
It's there. So I don't know why
It's no
it keeps.
longer proposed.
Some of our plans keep using the word proposed. I got to figure out a way to
Change that.
get all those deleted. What we are thinking is, we have the large wooded area to the north. It's been rezoned for BL. And the family has some ideas of maybe doing 1 or 2 or however many of these same kind of small-scale buildings if the rental demand is there. So we're going to have to make some kind of crossing over into that area. Obviously, that's not the subject of tonight, and it's going to be a much bigger application than this. And we'll come back, when the time is right. At that time, we'll figure out what's appropriate for the remaining conservation area. There's going to be a fairly decent conservation area on that north piece once we figure out some kind of a plan for it. But for tonight, the answer to your question is that conservation area does exist. It's sort of a down payment on things as things evolve. It's going to be expanded.
Perfect, thank you.
But I will take proposed off the plans.
That's a good idea. And the other question is, where is the snow going?
That was my question.
Well, the snow, yeah, it's not going over the wall, that's for sure, because the dogs are going to block that, or the animals.
Be happy.
It's going to have to be squirreled around, and if we get the big snowstorms, frankly, I assume now has there been times when you've had to remove the snow from the site if we get the real whopper?
We did.
Yeah, if we get the big ones, that has to be trucked off the site because there's really no place
to put it, that's what I was wondering.
All along the back of the bank building, bank and the medical building is the conservation area, and there's no that's specifically prohibited from snow.
Right.
So as from previous approvals. So yeah, squirrel it around during the smaller storms, but if we get the big storm, they're going to have to haul it off.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Any questions to my right?
Yep, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Are you going to be removing any trees?
Yeah, there's very little of that. There's mostly brush and everything in the back of the backyards. There's no real big trees back there.
No, okay. And one other concern that I have is what precautions are you going to be taking in demolition? Because, I mean, I'm familiar with those houses. They have asbestos siding, and, I'm worried about, any of it getting into nature or even the neighbors. So what do you have for precautions?
Yeah, we've actually mentioned that to both contractors that we had. We've already priced it out with 2 different contractors whom we've used in the past, and that's a precaution that they're aware of, too. Having the houses actually closer to the street gave us a lot more buffer behind them to actually use as like a staging area. They both will be coming down at the same time, so it's not going to be one contractor for one contractor for another, and they're both aware of that responsibility as well. The hazmat testing has not been completed yet, but at the same time, they already are aware of the responsibility as well. We're going to probably remove that fence between the 2 at the same time to give us more logistical space as well, because as soon as the houses come down, we hope to go right into construction. So they're already aware, they're already prepared for it, and they've already been put on notice even by us. But they thought they would mobilize behind it because the office where Hartford Hospital is an active center.
Right.
So they have to go back to the north and work it from the backside. But they're well aware of that, and we agree with you.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
I'm sure there's deep standards for how that has to be done.
Absolutely.
Any more questions to my right or concerns?
I actually just have a quick question.
Sure.
For Commissioner Higley. You were speaking to one of the veterinarians while Kevin was speaking, so I just wanted to make sure that I understood what was happening.
I just asked when they would be opening.
Oh, thank you. I was like, what's happening? Okay, I just missed that. I was like, okay, thank you.
Bring your pets.
Perfect.
Anybody to my left with questions or concerns? Anybody else? Georgie?
Well, Dave kind of summed up my report for me.
Perfect.
The only thing I had to add was possible site specifics, just to have the swale on the final plans and just to satisfy all online departmental comments for final plans. Dave and I worked out the scale issue that was in my previous comment. I don't know if it'd be better to have 2 separate upland review areas, but if the agency is okay with the one line being the total upland for the Little Banana and the full wetland, then that's fine
that's
too.
fine.
That's all.
That's fine, yeah.
That was if she got her approval.
Okay, anybody else? Questions, concerns? No? Can we have a motion?
So, site-specific, just the swale to the east?
Yep, just to have that swale note, that way it's on the plan for the protection of the properties to the east and to satisfy all online departmental comments. If the applicant is okay with that.
Yes, we are.
Cool. All right.
All right.
are we going to have site-specific for the No Crumb Rubber?
Oh, right, for the artificial turf? Environmentally friendly. Perfect.
If I can say the word. Environmental friendly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if I may,
Yeah, sure.
that was for the turf is referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, can we put as an if used?
Oh, if
Yeah,
used.
yeah.
If used?
If used.
Yeah, because
you
we
haven't decided
might do
actually-
grade it and do natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not sure, but
That's fine.
if used, we do that
If
one.
used, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I will make a motion to approve IW number 702, 17 and 21 Elm Street, application for a wetlands permit for the construction of a commercial development within regulated areas. Triano Properties LLC, applicant owner, map 26, lot 28 and 29, BL zone, with the following site-specific conditions: that, number one, the east side swale will be noted on the final plans. Number two, that all departmental comments will be satisfied. And number three, environmental friendly artificial turf shall be used if chosen to be used. However you want to say that.
Environmental friendly turf
Would that-
may be used.
Yeah.
May be used.
Yeah, maybe used, that's good. Well, if they're going to use it, it's got to be.
Yeah, if used.
If they're
yeah.
going to use it,
That's where the may comes into play.
Yeah, yeah.
Go for it.
yeah.
Second?
Seconded by Ken. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Donna Corbin Sabinski.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Even though they didn't bring a puppy, yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Nancy Martin.
Or a kitten, yes.
Ken Kaufman.
Where are they at now? Yes.
Seven in favor, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks very
Welcome.
much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Enjoy the project. Good luck on the project. And
Yep.
do they have other paper? Next on our agenda is IW 703, 14 West Shore Drive, application for a wetland permit for new construction, single-family home. Chelsea, welcome, Chelsea Aitken, applicant owner, map 80, lot 149, R33 zone, LOD. Hi, welcome. State your name and addresses for the record. Hi. Hi, welcome. Could you give us a little rundown on what you're doing?
For them. There's an old small house there, and I want to build a
New
new
one.
one, bigger one.
Perfect. Georgie, do you have anything to offer?
This is pretty standard, new single-family home within 100 feet of the water course. So the current site has a lot of existing nonconformities, so by demolishing it and building a new house, it eliminates those nonconformities from a zoning standpoint. The elevation is above the base flood elevation for FEMA, so there are no FEMA concerns. The house does not need to be built on stilts. Stormwater is being properly mitigated to the existing sheet flow that the property currently has. All the departmental comments have been complete with a more thorough review happening on the building department side of things for the building permit for the house. And I had no recommended site specifics because it was pretty straightforward. They did proper plan revision, so that has all been satisfied. And then just to cross out condition 6 for the plant types.
Do we have the ENS controls? So,
Yes, they are proposing, I believe it was silt fencing around the site. And they, you can see their soil stockpile on sheet 1. It was originally proposed over the sewer line, but they moved it off just to protect it from the weight of that soil stockpiling. But they do have proper ENS controls.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Is the seawall and this concrete pad existing? that's there. And it seems like a really huge driveway.
Yeah,
Why
I was
such a huge
thinking that.
driveway.
Proposed one, or?
Yeah, I assume that's proposed?
Whatever's on the plan.
Yeah, it's on the plan. Is that existing?
Can you guys just turn your microphone on when you speak? Make sure the red light is on.
Yeah, it's kind of weird shaped.
Yeah, that's what's there now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it stays.
But there's,
That one's coming out, the new driveway's
oh,
going.
I see. Okay. I see what it is. I didn't realize there was an island in the middle.
Ah, okay, I was
Okay.
wondering what that was.
I didn't see that. Okay. That makes more sense to me. Okay.
Yeah, that was my question, the driveway. Yours seemed kind of large. Anybody to my right with questions, concerns? To my left?
I just had an observation. I think you put a lot of thought into this. It's going to be lovely, and I'm glad you're not touching the seawall.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's probably helpful. Anybody else?
I will make a motion to approve IW number 703, 14 West Shore Drive, application for a wetlands permit for the development of a single-family home. Chelsea Aiken, applicant owner, map 80, lot 149, R33 zone, LOD.
Second.
I have just one thing I want to include in the record, just because we've been working with a lot of homeowners down by the lakes about their seawalls. Just keep in mind that any future maintenance of the seawall, you'll have to come back for a proper permit. I just wanted to include that.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Kelly had something?
Oh, I just said second.
Oh, okay.
And that's regardless of what your association tells you,
Yeah.
Lake Association.
Any other discussion? Nope. Can we have roll call, please?
Donna Corbin Savinsky.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Kelly Hemmler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Nancy Martin.
Yes.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
7 in favor, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck with your house.
Yep.
Keep her in town for some more years.
Have a good night. Thank you. So do we have any enforcement reports?
No update.
No updates? Planning staff report?
I have three updates. First and foremost, I have reached out to Yankee Castings asking about a check-in about their application because I am tired of waiting. We're not getting a response from DEEP. Our town attorney is waiting for DEEP and just nothing's happening, and I understand the agency wants to have them in. So I reached out, and we're going to see what happens. Next, I have an update from the soil scientists for LaCorey's restoration project under the original approval of IW 635. I reviewed the narrative, and they're complying with their site specifics where their soil scientist is monitoring all their work. There has been additional work done on site lately that they are currently in negotiations with our town attorney right now going forward, and I'm not too sure of the current status of that since it's more so issues with the planning and zoning side of things. I'm going to pass this out, and if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay.
The last update, Kelly kind of beat me to it in the beginning about the bills. They're all dead. Nothing has happened. And we'll keep an eye on them more closely the next time around. And that's all I have.
Perfect. Let's see what this says.
I assume the workload right now is crazy to try to consider doing some reg changes.
Yeah.
We can squeeze it in.
I think if we could even do bit by bit, even if we do this shed one.
Okay. Yeah,
Make your life easier.
I think the only thing I was waiting for was just making sure that we had the proper process of notifying, because we have to notify some state entities of any map changes, zoning reg changes. I just want to make sure that I had a clear outline of the process before starting, because once you submit, that time clock starts.
Yeah.
And we are still hiring for another planner. So I was hoping by the time that came around, we'd have somebody else to assist with the workload. But if we're all ready, then I can definitely have it worked on for probably June.
Okay.
It just seems like
Let's just
that would
start
make
going.
your life
Be very
easier.
beneficial, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
That'd be good. Any applications to be received? Or did anybody have any comments on the handout? No. looks good.
Yes, it's good to see.
Yeah, applications to be received? Probably none.
None being received.
Miscellaneous. So, Ginny,
Oh. The band.
the concerts.
Concert thing is coming up as we speak. And I noticed that the town council and a couple other commissions are moving their time up so that they don't have to listen to, not that they're not lovely, but, you know, when
Would
you're
you like
trying
to
to
move
conduct
up your meeting
business,
time?
it's kind of discouraging. So I'd like to propose that just for the time that the band shell is being used, that we move our meetings up to 5 o'clock, same day, just 5 o'clock.
But people work, so.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
work.
Well,
Not
5
everybody's
o'clock is
retired.
when we end. So,
What time is a good time if we moved it up?
Can you make 6, 5:30, 6?
I could probably do 6, but I'm thinking for applicants too, we want to be, I think 6 would be appropriate.
I think 6 would be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I work for myself, so.
Yeah, okay.
You live right there.
Exactly. To my right, anybody? Left, I mean?
Fine with 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm starting a new job in a few weeks that it ends at 4:30 and it's
Okay.
in Middletown.
Oh.
So I would be like cutting it close.
Okay.
But I can try for 6. I can try to get out early.
Yeah, yeah. It's just when they have the concerts on the band shell.
With a little bit of luck, they'll get rained out.
It actually did.
It actually did last year.
It only hit us once.
Once
I
or
know.
twice, yeah.
It's very loud, so it's,
Yeah.
plus the
It
parking lot
rattles the
gets filled up
windows.
and.
bad commissioners.
So we'll have to remember
Or we
that.
could just move business along and go to the concert.
There you go.
No bugs.
That's right.
But the gentlemen who do our work for us, they don't have a issue with it. So as long as Georgie and
I'm fine.
everybody else doesn't have an issue with it, I thought it might be less
Could you make-
stressful.
Yeah, you good? Yeah, okay.
I would just make a motion, and then we can change that for next meeting.
I will make a motion that we change the start of the meetings to 6 o'clock while the
Concerts.
concerts are in session.
Second.
Yeah, it's only when there's a concert out there.
Yeah, we'll go back to regular time.
Yeah. Okay, anybody discussion? Roll call?
Donna Corbin Sabinski.
Yes.
Kevin Zorda.
Yes.
Virginia Higley. Yes. Kelly Hemler.
Yes.
Dylan Bridge.
Yes.
Nancy Martin.
Yes.
Ken Kaufman.
Yes.
7 in favor, motion passes. So the motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
So it's Ginny and, yeah, Ken? And it's 7:52. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned, 7:53.
Wow, that was a lot faster.